everybody. Welcome back to another Daily Drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THF publisher Andrew Jones, and the topic today is Carolina basketball. Spawned by news this week, our David Sisk got confirmed that North Carolina basketball been communicating a little bit with a New Zealander, a 7-foot New Zealander by the name of Julius Halifonua. He is a class of 2026 kid, but everything appears to be pointing to a reclass 2025. There are other schools, prominent schools, that are involved with him as well. David also reported on our board about whether or not he thinks there's a chance that North Carolina could ultimately be in play. Go on over to our site, TarHeelIllustrated.com. Click the Four Corners board. That's where his post is. And by the way, you can be a subscriber for just $8.33 a month and get all of David's wisdom. And he puts a ton of stuff out there, article form, boards, and all that. All right. So Julius Halifonua, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. Will he or won't he be a Tar Heel? That's an interesting discussion point. But more than that is it has sparked once again all the concerns that many Carolina fans have about the Tar Heels front court. I get it. We've gone over this before. This isn't the first time I've talked about this on a solo drop. Jacob and I have talked about it. David and I did a podcast about a month ago talking about it as well. I understand some of the concerns. I get the points because I have put them out there as well. We need to see before believing if Jalen Washington can guard the lower block in a manner he needs to, and the team needs him to, and the fans want him to. We need to see if there is a backup, someone behind him that could step in and help. Is Zayden High ready to give backup minutes there? Can Jalen Withers slide over and spend a few minutes at the 5 defensively, especially? What about Van Allen Lubin? He played the 5 some at Vanderbilt. Played the 5 a lot at Vanderbilt. A little undersized for the 5, but he's got a really strong lower base. If you're talking about pushing a guy off the block as being one of the most important things you do defensively in basketball down low, Van Allen Lubin checks that box, guys. He doesn't, not super tall, but he's got he's 6'8" with a 7'1" wingspan, 7'2" wingspan. But the Carolina fans that have been most vocal since this Halifonua news started hitting the social media rounds, if you will, is that, we must have him. He's got to come in. He's just a missing piece. He's exactly what we need. That's what the Carolina fans have been saying. Mind you, David also reported that Rob Cassidy of Rivals.com, our national basketball recruiting analyst, says that the New Zealander would rank between about 75 and 95 if he were to reclass to 2025. To give you a frame of reference, Zayden High was, I believe, in the upper 50s, if I'm not mistaken, number 58. James Brown was in the 90s. And this kid's a year younger than James Brown, 2 years younger than Zayden High. So would he really be an impact guy? We don't know. I've never seen him play. I've seen some video, haven't seen him in person. Not a lot of people have until late, and he's played very well. But more than that, I think the discussion here is with what Carolina has, fans need to accept that's the front court. If you get Halifonua and he's able to help out, fantastic. But if you don't get him, don't worry. The odds of him being an impact guy are very slim. There are some factors around his recruitment that might make it a little bit more challenging for UNC to land him. And say he does come to Chapel Hill and he arrives in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, by the way, I guess classes start August 17th or 18th, something like that. Let's say he's there in time. He's got Jalen Washington. He's got Zayden High. He's got James Brown. He's got Van Allen Lubin. He's got Jalen Withers. These are all 5 dudes that have played the 5 in college at some point or another, with the exception of Brown, and that's what he's slated for. Would this guy crack it? Maybe, maybe not. Odds are slim that he would. That's why I'm saying Carolina fans need to embrace what you have in the front court. Give it a chance. So often in college football in July, what we think conference races are going to turn out to look like, what we think the national race is going to turn out to look like, usually isn't so. Some elements are true, some elements are way off. In basketball, it's the same way, even more now than ever before because of the influence of the transfer portal and how that changes things so rapidly. For Carolina, you've got a guy in Jalen Washington who just this offseason is fully healthy after having played some college and seeing what he needs to work on, is really for the first time having a big growth period in the offseason in his game. He had big growth periods after his freshman and sophomore years of high school. It was a long time ago. We're talking college level stuff. We're talking enough minutes on the court last year where Jalen can sit in the film room and he can have pointed out to him by Sean May, A, B, C, D, and E. Those are your points of emphasis off season. So if you were to wander into the Smith Center, either the practice court or the main court, and see him working out, you're going to see A, B, C, D, and E. The things that Jalen Withers needs to get better at, same thing. Zayden High got enough on film last year. Well, maybe not. He didn't get a lot, but probably got enough. Certainly to see the mistakes, because he made a lot of mistakes, but that's okay. Mistakes are fine as long as you learn from them. So Jalen in particular, Washington that is, J-Wash, which is what they call him within the walls of the locker room, and imagine there's other nicknames. You've got to sit back and wait and see. I think he's going to be pretty good. There might be some areas where he's not as good as Armando was defensively with the body, but there may be areas where he's better. As I noted multiple times on drops and podcasts, multiple times in written stories, multiple times on our message boards, if you look at Jalen Washington's production last year per 40 minutes, 18.5 points, 12.8 rebounds, 2.7 block shots. The only thing missing are cutting down on fouls and noting how efficient he can be, the intangibles of defending in the block. It's not always once a guy gets the ball. Hubert Davis talks about that all the time, and I love when he does, because if you think about the amount of time any player spends on defense in a basketball game, then if you were to carve out the amount of time their guy has the ball, so they're on the ball defensively, it's not much. Most of your playing defense in basketball is off the ball. And one of the keys of playing off the ball defense, especially against a good half court offensive team or a club that likes to run stuff to the post, is pushing guys off the block. You move them out of the comfort zone. If you move them out of the spots that are by design for the offense, you can disrupt what the offense does, even if your guy never touches the ball. Those are the areas Jalen absolutely needs to improve. And if he makes strides in those areas, cuts down the fouls, and is much better off the ball defensively, you can have yourself a pretty good player. There's no doubt about it. If Hubert Davis and Sean May and Pat Sullivan, who spent 18 years in the NBA, are confident enough in Jalen Washington that they didn't go out and get someone else, they made some efforts, but didn't go full bore enough to say, hey, Jalen's not our guy. I mean, they would have gone and gone and gone if they didn't think he was the guy. And maybe they would push more for this kid from New Zealand. Who knows? Embrace what you have, guys. Whether or not Julius Halei-Fonua becomes a Tar Heel or not, embrace what you have. That's your front court. Jalen Washington is a key on next year's team. Well, it's almost this year's team because they play in 3.5 months. So embrace it. That's my message to you. Hey, by the way, if you don't want to sign up for Tar Heel Illustrated, okay. But guess what? There's a way where you can still help us continue to bring videos like this to you. It costs money to travel and cover Carolina basketball and football like we do. It costs money to cover recruiting. We are all over the place. We go everywhere the Tar Heels go in football and basketball. We have a staff to pay for. So if you just want to donate, say, you know what, we love what you guys are doing. I don't want to get involved in signing up for any subscription. You can, there's a little Venmo thing that we have in the bottom of this video, is in the description area of this video. You can do that as well. It is, a lot of people do that now because a lot of folks don't like to sign up and give all this information. You can just go pop in a little donation. That would be great. That means Jacob Turner continue working with us because I can continue paying him and I can give him a massive raise. Just kidding, Jacob, no massive raise. Anyway, anything you guys can do to help, we appreciate it. We definitely appreciate you staying on our videos, watching our videos, and supporting what we do. And make sure you tell your Carolina friends about us. Not everybody knows about THI just yet, so tell them about us. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, hit the notification bell so you get updates every time we upload. And if you do want a daily deluge of information, go ahead and sign up at just $8.33 a month for a 1-year subscription. That's better than just donating. And we don't get all that. All that goes to Rivals and everything else. But we want you guys to get more bang for your buck. So it makes more sense to do that. Anyway, I'm AJ, and I appreciate you stopping by.